The Pixel K80 is a 45 watt RGB LED panel. I originally bought it as my main key light when I first started doing video, and I've since upgraded, but I still really like this light. So today we're going over what I like and dislike about the Pixel K80. So you guys ready? Let's get to it. Before we talk about the Pixel K80 as a product, I want to talk about Pixel as a brand for a moment. They seem to be an Amazon-based brand in that I couldn't find a website on them and all their ads just have horrible grammar and horrible photoshops. With that being said, I've owned 3 different products from Pixel. One of them is a microphone and 2 of them are lights, and all 3 products are absolutely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. So although they give me that AliExpress kind of like drop shipping brand vibe, I still like their products. I can't even find the original ad from the light that I bought on Amazon. There is another Pixel K80 on Amazon, but it's a different ad because I went back through my orders and looked for that light, and that ad is just gone now for some reason. The Pixel K80 originally cost me $120, and it's the same price on Amazon right now, but the weird thing about Amazon brands is a lot of them use the same manufacturer, so I wouldn't be surprised if you could find pretty much an identical RGB panel from a different company just with their logo on it. The Pixel K80 is 45 watts. It has 552 LEDs in total. 240 of those LEDs are RGB LEDs, and then 156 are warm white lighting, 156 are cool white lighting, so those will blend together to get you whatever temperature white lighting that you want. And this is exactly how higher end, more expensive lights should be designed. I've seen some cheaper LED panels which just have the RGB lights and they'll turn them all on at once to create white lighting, but it just looks like garbage. It's much better to have an LED panel with designated white lighting in it. You have 2 normal options for powering this light and then one kind of weird one. The first and most obvious one is the included AC adapter that came with the light. This is just a plug it into the wall situation. It's literally just a 2-prong plug that goes into the wall, the end of the wire plugs into the back of the light, and now you have unlimited light. The next option for powering this light, especially if you don't want to plug into a wall, are these NP F970 batteries. Super common item that you can buy at literally any camera store. They come in multiple sizes, they're rechargeable, they're not all that expensive, so you could buy a lot of them, and it's a great option for powering this light, especially if you're in a pinch and you don't have a wall plug available to you. There are a couple quirks when you're using the battery power with this light though. First of all, it runs through batteries pretty quickly, which is pretty standard as far as lighting is concerned, but I'm talking about like under an hour and a half if you have it up above 80%. This seems to be not as much of an issue on the RGB side, but if you're using it for white lighting with batteries, do not expect it to last very long. The other weird thing is there's 2 battery slots on the back of this light, but you need a battery in both slots for it to even turn on, meaning you can't put a battery on one side and expect the light to function. And this brings us to that third strange power option that I was talking about for this light. I think in theory you could probably use dummy batteries with this light, but I haven't tested it at all, so I don't really want to speak on it. So what comes in the box with the Pixel K80 altogether? Well, you get the LED panel itself, which has an aluminum housing around it with cuts in it to dissipate heat, but these same cuts also allow a lot of light to spill out the side, so I don't really like that design. It also has a plastic control board on the back of it. This is where your battery slots, all your switches and knobs are, and there's a little screen on the back of it to tell you exactly what your light is doing. The Pixel K80 comes with a bracket for attaching it and mounting it on lighting stands. It allows it to pivot up and down with the thumb screws on either side, but if you want to attach this light to a normal tripod, you do need some sort of an adapter. One of the things that I wish that I had learned about lighting stands in the first place is they don't all have this little 1/4-inch screw like a normal tripod, nor does this light even have a way to screw down onto a normal tripod. The way this mounts is it goes over this little piece of aluminum, and then you tighten this thumb screw and that tightens and clamps down on that piece in there. So I was thinking to myself, how would I ever mount this light to a normal tripod if I wanted to? They actually sell adapters which have the female threading of a 1/4-inch screw, and then it has a spot to tighten down onto. The Pixel K80 also comes with 2 different lighting modifiers. One of them is a removable aluminum barn door setup, and the second one is this piece of plastic for diffusing the light, but you can only use the piece of plastic by slotting it into the barn doors, so it's either both modifiers or neither. The only other thing that comes in the box is the AC adapter, which we already covered. By now I'm sure you guys get it though. It's a light, there's controls on the back, it changes colors. So let's talk about the software and look at some test footage. So here we are at the back of the light. If we were using battery power, we would flip this power power switch over to the battery icon, but because we're using the AC adapter, we're gonna flip it over to this plug. That turns on the screen and the light. And as you can see, we're at 35% brightness and 5500 Kelvin as far as color temperature is concerned. We also have our mode indicator over here, a little plug to tell us what power we're on, and these memory banks up here. Notice that the brightness is highlighted. That just means that you're controlling the brightness right now with this knob. If you want to cycle through your settings, you hit the button in the center of the knob, and now I can control color temperature. You'll notice that there's 4 buttons on the back of this light. The first one controls what mode you're in. The second one cycles through brightness at 25% intervals. The third one allows you to select which channel you're on in case there's multiple remotes running at one time. And the fourth one allows you to cycle through memory banks. As you may have noticed, this light has 3 main modes. The first mode is CCT, and that's just your regular white lighting, which you can cycle from 2600 Kelvin or very warm, all the way up through 10,000 Kelvin or very cool. Mode number 2 is our HSL, which is just hue, saturation, luminance, and you can control the brightness, the color temperature, or the saturation. Mode number 3 is called FLS, and it's basically 9 pre-programmed scenes that all do something a little bit different, like flashing or cycling through colors. And I almost never use this mode personally, but if you shot a lot of short films, I could see where this would be useful. So here we are in my normal talking head situation, but I'm using the Pixel K80 as my key light as opposed to my normal key light. There's no softbox. The only thing on it are the barn doors and the diffusion. It's at 25% power and 5500 Kelvin right now, but I'm gonna be cycling through all the different color temperatures and modes so you guys can see what this light looks like in all of its modes on human skin. So in closing, I love the Pixel K80 as a secondary light or an accent light, but if I could go back and do it again, I probably wouldn't pick an RGB LED panel as my main key light when I was first starting out. And it's not because I have anything against RGB LED panels. They're super versatile. I'd just much rather have something that's daylight balanced and I know will produce good skin tones every single time, like the light I have now. There's also a pretty big trade-off for power to price ratio if we're talking about RGB versus single color lights. So if you were to spend $200 on an RGB panel and then $200 on a daylight balanced light, the daylight balanced light is going to be way brighter than the RGB panel. And when we're talking about key lights, brightness is really important. But anyway, guys, that's been my review of the Pixel K80 RGB LED panel. If you got something out of this video, consider going down and hitting the like and the sub button. It means the world to content creators like me. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Sam Has a Spending Problem, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.